The pillows are connected to Garnt's favorite anime, which is.
A person's favorite work of art says a lot about them. Sometimes it says a bit too much. When it comes to anime, we all have our personal favorites and our social favorites. Top animalists and fast dates surprisingly have a lot in common. Both have people desperately trying to look cooler than they actually are. Both get more and more boring the longer they are, and both involve staring at steamy teenage boys fighting each other for hundreds of hours. Yo, not like that, not like that. In the anime community, there's a tendency to equate your favorite anime or favorites with your experience watching anime, or in other words, your taste. And frankly, this notion is pretty dumb. Pretty damn true. That's why we all have our social lists and our actual lists. When someone asks me what my top 10 anime are, I'm not gonna say Prison School is on there, or Panty and Stalking, or Beastars. Even though I love these shows, I'm gonna say Neon Genesis Evangelion, Ping Pong the Animation, Cowboy Bebop. Even though these are actually on my list, just not my top 10. Now for the big boy YouTubers who everyone loves like Gigguk, I get why you wouldn't want to share your actual personal favorites, because the stakes are higher, much higher. 3 million subscribers high. So making this video was a real challenge because I had to swim deep, dig deep into the darkest corners of the internet to find this man's actual favorite anime, and finally, I did. So let's get into it. Nah, wait. That isn't exciting enough for this intro. Let's start. No. Let us begin.
And everyone knows that the pillows are connected to Garnt's favorite anime, which is Beck.
Beck Mongolian Chop Squad is a 26-episode anime series that aired in 2004. What's it about? It's about music.
Golf, it's not a music.
It is a music anime.
This story follows Koyuki, a lost young boy with no goals in life, whose life takes a crazy turn when he saves this weird dog and later meets its owner Ryusuke, who wants to create the world's ultimate rock band. Koyuki starts off knowing nothing about Western rock culture, but throughout the show he falls in love with rock music and goes on to be part of the band called Beck. Now I know there's someone at home loading a gun because of how stupidly boring that synopsis was, but hear me out. The show's biggest strength is its characters and the journey they take. It's a simple story about one's passions and the effort it takes to make it big as a band. Since Koyuki starts off the story lost, I really related with him because I remember a time in my life where I felt lost too, where I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. In fact, I still somehow do. Okay, so real quick, I don't know anything about rock music. I'm black. I listen to real music. I've listened to a few bands and I probably have some rock songs saved on my phone, but nothing too crazy. The only Beatles I know are these guys. That girl is a real... The real magic of the show happens in episode 5, and it became easily one of the best episodes of anime I have ever watched. I didn't really care about the music aspect, but I felt everything the anime wanted me to feel. A quick summary of the episode: it's a local town fair and a band was meant to perform that night, but because someone got too drunk, one of the lead members gets in a little accident and can't play. They want Koyuki to take his place. Now by episode 5, Koyuki knows just the basics about playing the guitar and even how to make it sound kinda good, but he has to play in front of a crowd for the first time in his life. No practice, no preparation, he just has to do it. Koyuki is terrified, and this scene was so powerful that I almost teared up. Earlier this year, I shot my first short film. I've always wanted to make one since forever. In film school, it's expected that by the time you finish your degree, you'll have shot several productions, and I had, just not any of mine. I'd helped friends shoot films, TV shows, music videos, and I'd even acted in some of them, but I had never made anything myself. So I decided enough is enough, sat down and wrote a script. I edited it a couple of times and asked my friends what they thought about it, and when I felt it was kinda ready, I started production. But I had to cast actors for it, and I wanted to pull back. I wanted to run away. I don't judge people who come for auditions. That's not me. I'm the guy who edits, the guy who does things in silence behind a screen. I'm not the hands-on guy who I needed to be for this. I mean, sure, I wrote it and I'm gonna direct it, but it was too foreign and new of a concept for me. I could feel this force pulling me aside, telling me to cancel the auditions, make up an excuse and say I'm sick or something. But fuck that. I wore my big boy shorts, lathered my balls, and pulled through. I got 3 great actors for the film, and I went on to book the location, get the equipment, and prepare for the shoot the next day. I had never directed before, so the idea of being in charge of over 10 people felt like what I can only imagine Koyuki must have felt like climbing on that stage. Only my experience lasted 16 hours. It wasn't that long of a script, so I ended up shooting it in one day, and it went great. Sure, some things went wrong, like we lost power for over an hour, but we did it. I thanked the team, took the footage home, and fell on my bed exhausted. But I can't really describe in words the feeling of happiness, satisfaction, and excitement I felt having conquered that fear. Growing up, I've always loved interesting stories. From watching movies to eventually discovering anime, a medium rich with amazing stories, different characters, and hundreds of interesting topics. And Beck episode 5 reminded me of why I love storytelling so much, why I started film school, and why I also started this channel to express my love for stories. For that scene, I was Koyuki. I felt his anxieties, his fear, the tension in his arms. It got me. Back to the anime. Beck is a great adaptation. It's a bit old, so some of the animation is a bit wobbly, but you'd have to be nitpicking to call that a flaw. The music is amazing, and just like My Neighbor's Husband, the OP slaps. It's really refreshing to watch the realistic, simple journey Koyuki takes during the show's runtime, and to see his insane hours of practicing finally pay off. One thing I really commend the show for having is its aha moments. In most forms of media, a character will just suddenly have a moment where they figure out all of life's secrets. Be it Tony Stark randomly figuring out the secret of time travel, or Jotaro figuring out that his stand can also stop time. We as an audience start to believe that in our fields of passion, we'll do the same, that it will all just randomly come to us, but most of the time, this isn't so, and it often takes several aha moments spread out through several hours of practice and continuous grinding that gives birth to greatness, and Beck killed it in this regard. The show's great in both dub and sub, but I love the sub because the dialogue just has this sophisticated charm to it.
Have you lost your mind?
No, Ray, you don't understand.
Turn of the bitch!
And also dubs are the devil. I hate dubs, except for a few. Slide here, bro, you already know. Most of the characters were inspired or touched by rock music, and after digging a little bit deeper, I found out that Japan has several music scenes where they take inspiration from music all over the world for almost all genres. Beck reminded me to chase my true passions instead of just staying comfortable all the time. One of the reasons I found it so hard to actually make my film was because it involved several external parts. I needed actors, locations, crew to handle the equipment, and as the director, I would be in charge of all of this. Working with the team was a very foreign idea for me, and even for Koyuki himself. I think the reason it took me so long to make this is YouTube. One of the things that makes YouTube so fun is the ability of making a video from scratch all the way to publishing it by yourself as a single creator. Since these videos are so personal, you get to really understand and feel how the creator does. But the dark side of this is getting used to doing everything by yourself. And this can make it harder to work as a team, especially in bigger projects that involve more than just one person. I think the reason Gigguk and so many others were drawn to the story of Beck is the journey of seeing Koyuki and his fellow band members discover themselves and their own unique sound and learning how to perfect it while slowly going from the underground to the mainstream. And also he's a bit biased because the man was in a band. This man was also the damn lead guitarist, and he's Asian like Koyuki. So now the audio I played during the beginning of the video was from an old podcast Gigguk had with his friends called Podtaku, and in one of these episodes, Jimmy aka Naino calls out Gigguk's favorite anime and then proceeds to call him a c***. Now, Naino and Gigguk back in the Podtaku days seemed pretty chummy. The whole cast was pretty chummy, so I can assume at the very least, Naino saying what he said was kinda true then. And yes, I am aware of how weird this fake dissection of friends I don't know is, but long PP short, this plus Gigguk also saying that he'd love a second season of Beck and also loving the manga and talking about it severally in videos and on Twitter, I'd wager my left nut that it's at least on his top 5, but tastes change over time. He also did a top 30 list, but none of these are the guy's actual spicy favorites, so those don't count. Hey, I've been researched, and you know what else I love other than sweet oxygen? To see your opinions in the comments. What do you think Gigguk's real favorite anime is? What did you think about the video? Or why does it hurt when I pee? See ya!